Hi guys, Helm's Armor here, and today we're doing something different. I recently picked up a double strike at a Goodwill for like $2 or $3, which is always a snag. And I was going back through and rewatching some of Mr. Nathan's videos and got inspired to try something like this. So basically, my idea is I'm gonna do a little bit of an integration project on this double strike, and I'm gonna film myself doing it, and we're gonna see what we get out of it. Now, this is an experiment, so if it works out, it doesn't work out, whatever, we'll see. Of course, leave comments down below for any suggestions you have, if there's any way you can think I can get this camera angle to work better, but I think it's okay. That being said, this is my current workbench setup. And let's start getting into the double strike. This is a great little pocket pistol blaster from the Zombie Strike line that I've always really liked because of how compact it is. I wish it had more than a 2-shot AR, but we might be able to address that later. But let's talk about the problems I have with it. The biggest one for me is the handle. I have probably average sized hands, but my fingers are pretty long. And that being said, there's no room in this handle for my hand. My pinky finger is all smashed up in there, and it either ends up going down there or it gets squished up with my other fingers, and that's just not comfortable. The other problem I have is at times the hammer tends to bite into my hand here. And at the moment I don't really have a plan for that, but we'll see what's gonna happen. As far as like the trigger goes, that's fine. And the other thing I really don't like, and I don't have darts nearby, but the darts aren't fully enclosed by the barrel, so I'm probably going to do something with that, as well as just do a bunch of aesthetic things to the show, and we're going to see what happens. So I've got a couple things spread around here, and what are we going to do today? I think today we're going to start by replacing this grip, and I was digging through my bin, and I found this Star Wars, I think it's a First Order Trooper blaster of some sort. It's a Rampage reskin that this one never really worked. But it has a very comfortable grip. So what we're gonna try to do today is get this grip at least loosely fitted on the double strike. Yeah. So let's go. I'm gonna try to do time lapses and stuff through this video if I can figure out how to do that on editing. If not, I'll just splice this all together and jump back and forth to me talking to you. So let's get started. So, at this point, I've gutted the double strike, and let me just kind of explain what I'm looking at here. So I know I want to get rid of a lot of the material on the handle because, well, it's not comfortable. But there are pieces that support the mechanism. The trigger and the hammer, all that being up on those two pins, as well as, why are you stuck? Hope you can see this. As well as this spring rest down here. Now, the next step, of course, is to open up the Stormtrooper blaster and take a look at what's inside that handle and free that handle. But I wanted to start here because I wanted to get a sense to just how much I can get away with taking away. And I definitely need these 2 posts, and I want to keep them as intact as possible, and if possible, connected with this shell. I'm probably going to end up backfilling and supporting a lot, whatever's left of this, with DevCon or epoxy, whatever I have on hand. What I got? My buddy JB. So we'll see what happens. But for those of you who are watching this wanting some integration advice, I always try to start with whatever my mechanical blaster is, whatever the function, whatever blaster is giving it function, and look to see what parts I need. If you're doing an integration with a strifer, something, which I know is kind of the most popular option, you want to maintain things like your pusher parts and your pusher supports, as well as everything surrounding your flywheel cage, as well as supporting your triggers. Of course, that can vary depending on the specific project, but for this project, the important bits are these supports here, basically everything in this section, these pins, that screw post, and these posts down here. That being said, let's crack open that guy. Get out of the way. So this bodes well because there's not a whole lot of stuff to contend with on the inside of here, so with any luck, we can take this down to just a few kind of slivers of support, one for each side of the shell, which will give us more surface area to glue to, as well as supporting the bits that will be attached to that shell. Because something we need to keep in mind with this project is that we're basically just go back together. We're basically just adding bits to this shell. Now, I will probably be taking bits away as well, just to get some of the aesthetic pieces to fit right. Like, of course, I'm about to tear off a bunch of this grip and kind of minimize this grip. But in general, the more of this shell is left, the stronger it will be, because this is our central portion. I hope that makes sense. Let's jump to what's next. I guess I gotta free up this handle next, so let's start cutting. Yeah. Oh, one more thing before I shut up for a bit. Always take your time with integrations, and make things. I don't think I have my calipers, but I already know that this grip is on average thicker than this one by 2 or 3 millimeters, which means in this dimension, which is the dimension I'm trying to keep material in, this one should slot over the majority of this. I have definitely fallen into this trap, and if I ever do a video on my first integration, which I probably should, you'll see that a lot of times people think in this plane of, oh, what can go onto which bits, but then they don't think about the width of the blasters and the shells, which can then really bite you in the butt. So, that being said, let's... This thing's really liking sticking together. Let's get cutting, I guess. another good little point. I like to paint most of my integrations because I'm not that great at them. And so you can hide a lot of your crimes, as Adam Savage likes to say, through paint. So I'm never scared to mark up on my blasters things like where bits I need to protect are. So here's the proof. Get that rid of it. So much better. I mean, that stinks, but that is moving in the right direction. So, definitely a part I should talk about. Never just, or at least I wouldn't suggest, just doing stuff and then hoping it all fits out at the end. I suggest going very slowly and test fitting everything as you go. So at this point, I've got my new grip separated and roughly cleaned out the inside. And I want to try to keep all 3 of these screw posts to go in the bottom of this blaster. I'm probably it's one of the things I'm looking at now. I'm probably going to lose this one and this one. So I definitely want to keep this one and these 2. These 2 are the easy ones to keep. This one might be a little tricky because it means I'm going to have to take out more material up here. But that's okay. It might be helpful to just lift that in. So yes, that is what we're looking at. And just again, just as you go, constantly check the way things look. For example, I'm really liking the way this line is going up and then this line is parallel with this line. I'm probably going to sand this texture off up there just so that's smooth. So yeah, I really hope I'm not leaning over all this and all you're seeing is the back of my head. But just as you go, just check stuff. See how it fits. We'll see. So, new thing. This might just be me, but I think it's a good idea. The problem I'm running into right now is these little tab guys are getting in the way. Now, that kind of gives me 2 options. I can either cut off these tabs or cut more off of my double strike shell. Now, why I'm hemming and hawing over this is because things like this give what's referred to as registration when you're talking about mold making or pieces fitting together, which just means bits that help align 2 parts. That's also why I'm trying to leave in things like these screw posts that I'm not going to end up putting screws through, but they provide registration and compression strength. These U-shaped clips you see a lot in shells. I had to cut one there, but there's one here and one here. They do the same thing. They are registration and strength-giving bits. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rely more on these more registration and strength from the double strike shell, and sacrifice these tabs because there's not a whole lot in this shell. And these 3 screw posts will give me plenty, especially in addition to the stuff in the double strike shell. So I'm gonna do that. Becoming a thing. Well, okay, that was fun. I will see how editing this goes, but this is where we're at right now. We've got the Star Wars blaster's grip just hot glue tacked onto the blaster, and this is my preferred way to do things. I don't ever jump straight to epoxy because you can't really undo that, whereas hot glue is fairly easy to undo. I had to do a bit more cutting on the double strike grip than I thought I was going to, but that's all right. And I've still got a little bit of fine tuning to do. I've got, I think I've got something in here that's just a little too thick, but nothing some time with a file won't fix. So I think this is where we're gonna leave this installation into this project. Please let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.